That gypsy cart was falling. I could see the stuff on the shelves, and I could see the light, and there was a light, those old, like wick, candle lights, those old, glass lights that had it was attached like that. And it was, those oil lanterns, and it was moving and it was swaying all back and forth inside of this gypsy cart. And, it ended like that with this part of the vision. Then all of a sudden I was taken to Miami, and I was standing in Miami with all these big, like neon lights again. And I see all these lights, but I'm noticing again, there's no people moving around. And all of these visions of this time are all on the East Coast. And I'm seeing this, and I forgot to tell you this. I see at this time, I'm in Times Square again. I'm going to tell you about this. I'm sorry to jump around. I see a massive moon in the sky. I look up, and my attention is drawn to this massive moon, and I see a little sliver of it, so I know it wasn't a full moon, and it was still kind of just coming up over the horizon. So now I'm going to go back to Miami. I see the same moon over Miami, and I see that over here, but I'm down probably 1,500 miles. And so, all of a sudden, I'm, like I said, I'm noticing there's no people walking around. It's completely quiet, and it's at the night. And nightlife is big, booming in both cities. And so everything is just at a standstill. And all of a sudden, I'm taken up, and I'm looking out over the United States. And then the Lord shoots me up in the sky, and I'm in the throne room. And all of a sudden, the Lord speaks to me in the throne room, and he said, Brandon, I told you, it's time to come up higher. It's time to come up higher with the fire. It's time to come up in a higher place with me prophetically, and what I'm trying to show you for these on the earth. He said, when you're looking into the situation and you're on the earth, you need to come up higher prophetically. Okay? So and I could see a cape, like a cloak, around him. And he was just sitting there, ruling and reigning with the Father. And he had fur on the band over. It was beautiful. And he had some kind of fur on the band of this crown. And inside of that gypsy cart was back to, and it's at the night. And not the throne room. And all of a sudden, the Lord speaks to me in the throne room, and he said, Brandon, I show you for these last. And I could see all these lightning bolts. I was trying to look. He said, when you're looking in, so I was trying to prophesy, but being at the golden scepter in his had a to prophesy, but being at the throne room of God, I could see Jesus, and he had a golden scepter in his hand. And on his head, he had a crown, and it was purple, and it was gold, and it had jewels all over it. It was beautiful. And he had some kind of fur on the band of this crown. And I could see a cape, like a cloak, around him. And he was just sitting there, ruling and reigning with the Father. And he said, sit before me. Sit. Earth, but he wanted me to just sit there and be still. And after a moment of just a yield, he wanted me to yield. This is what was really happening in the natural for me, and don't squirm in your lap anymore. I have chosen you. Have been called by me, and I have chosen you. And I have put a prosperity on you. But I have weighed you in the balance, and you are loud. And he was calling out the behavior of the woman. Now, I don't know if the woman represented America, all in her hair. And I have found you lacking. And she had blonde hair, a woman. And she had blonde hair, and she had extensions all in her hair. and she had all kinds of fillers in her face, and her lips were done up, and her face had Botox all in it. She had massive breasts from having augmentation on her body, and she had a little bitty waist, and she had a really, really tight fitting clothes on, really revealing clothes. And the Lord is showing me this woman, and he said, she is full of pride. You are full of pride. You are full of yourself. It was arrogance before him. And he was calling out the behavior of the woman. Now, I don't know if oh, that I have blessed you. And so looking at herself, and she kept looking at her body, looking at her hair, looking at everything, and she was so proud of the way she looked. But she was so fixated on herself, she wasn't looking at what was going on around her. And all of a sudden, the Lord said, I want to show you something. I heard him. And I saw a square, a massive gold square that was really thick. And it was a supernatural covering that was over Yellowstone National Park. And he had put a covering over this area. And it was a massive square that went all the way up over these states. It was a was placed, and he had sewn it all on those states, sewed it. He had sewed it. I could see a golden thread that was weaved all throughout this golden garment that looked. It was a thick piece of something, and it was over those states, over over that volcanic area. And he had put a covering of protection and of a peace over that. It was sealed to the earth. Okay, it was sealed to the earth. And all of a sudden, I saw that golden stuff that was tied to the earth. It was released, and it had a gap in between the earth and this golden protection that was over that area. And all of a sudden, I felt a violent volcano go off in that area. A violent volcano. And I saw Portland, Oregon. In Seattle, completely destroyed. I saw that the area between Portland, Oregon, and the ocean going this way, it split off from a massive earthquake. A massive, massive earthquake. The largest earthquake we've ever felt in this area before, ever. In this, it was a humongous earthquake. And the land from Portland, Oregon to the ocean broke off into the water. Okay? And and you could see the ground of this, I believe it's the San Andreas Fault. It lifted up the land up higher. of all that was going on the earth, but he wanted me to just sit there and be still. And after a moment,